review because what is happening on Thursday? Our test. I am not sure. I don't know. It's questions. I don't know. All right. So we have a couple things that we need to remember for when we answer these types of questions. We have to remember that if they answer questions that are like where, if they say like where is something happening, then they're asking for X values. They're asking for an answer that has to do with X values. If they're asking questions that are something about like what, then they're asking about Y values. So where are X values? What are Y values? We also have to remember that when they say something like the function, they're really talking about Y. Where is the function negative? They're saying where is the Y value negative? When they say what are the zeros of the function, they're really asking about the x-intercepts. When they say where is f of x greater than 0, they're really saying where is y greater than 0, so where is y positive? And then when they say where is the function increasing, they're really saying like what's the increasing interval, and we've done that. That's where the stick figure is walking uphill. Where's the stick figure walking uphill? Okay, so these are things we can do. It just, the way that they phrase it feels not straightforward, but it is, okay? So where is the function negative? We say where are the y values negative? Well, the y values are negative on the bottom half of the graph, right? Everything underneath the x-axis. Okay, so I'm going to say below the x-axis. And so I'm going to label this in my picture. I'm going to label it in red. It's right here. So I know that the answer to number 9 is going to be kind of the red part of my graph. What are the zeros of the function? The zeros of the function are the x-intercepts. Those are right here, right? Okay. Where is the graph? Where is y greater than or equal to 0? So y equals 0 at the x-intercepts, right? Y equals 0 at the x-intercepts. So I'm actually going to circle this. Let's go ahead and change this. Okay. That's the equal 0 part. And then y is greater than 0. Y is positive above the x-axis. These are all the positive y values above the x-axis. And so this is all the stuff that is true for number 11. Okay. So really, to answer questions 9, 10, and 11, we kind of, now these are x-intercepts, so even though it asks a what questions, it's saying what are the x-intercepts, so this is still asking for an x value. But this says where and this says where, so these are all asking about x values. Where is the y value this? That's an answer is going to be an x value. What is the x-intercept? That's an x value. Where is the y value this? That's an x value. So all of these are just asking what these different x values are. So our answers are going to be x values for every single question. Does that make sense? Okay, so for this, we need our graphing calculator because those x-intercepts, they did not look like whole numbers, they looked like decimals, and we're going to need our calculators to help us find those decimals. So let's go ahead and grab the calculators, and we're going to type the equation in because they gave it to us in the problem. So I'm going to hit the y equals button, and I'm going to type the 2 first, and then my parentheses, x minus 3 squared. And do we remember where the X button is? Right under the mode button, right here. X minus 3 squared, minus 3 squared. And then on the end, we got minus 1. Hello. Okay. And then when I'm done with that, I can just hit the graph button so I can see it, make sure it looks like what's on my paper. And it does, right? It looks the same. Okay. And now I want to find the x-intercepts, and I can see the first x-intercept looks like it's between 2 and 3. So to find the x-intercepts, I do second, so that blue button, second trace, and it's called the 0 of the function, so second trace, option number 2. And for me to do the left bound and right bound, I'm just going to tell my calculator to look in between 2 and 3. So left bound and right bound, I'm going to say 2 for left bound. I just typed the number 2. 2, enter. Right bound, I'm going to type 3, enter. And then when it says guess, I'm going to ignore the guess. I'm just going to type enter one more time. And I have that decimal right there. So 2.293 is the number that I'm going to use. 2.293. Are we good with that? We're able to get that? Okay. So this right here on my graph is 2.293, and that starts the answer of number 10. So 2.293, comma 0. That's one of the zeros of the function. Okay. The other 0 of the function is over here. I can see from the drawing it's between 3 and 4, or if I drew on that and you're not very comfortable, maybe it's like past 4 and you can't tell because I drew on it in marker, maybe we could say it's between 3 and 5 just to be sure. So I can do second trace, option number 2, and for my left bound I can type 3 and then hit enter, and then for my right bound I could hit 5 and then press enter. And the guess is never right, so I ignore it and I press enter one more time. 3.707. And that's the other part of my answer for number 10. So 3.7070. Okay. Are we okay with that? Okay. So now we can answer where is the function negative. So the red part, we're going to say that the y values are negative if you input specific x values, right? We plug in the x value, it spits out a negative y value. So what are the x values we can plug in that would spit out a negative y value? It's in between two numbers. It's from here to here, right? So if you plug in anything between those two x-intercepts, plug in anything between there, you're going to get a negative y value, right? So I'm going to say if you plug in anything between 2.293 and 3.707, if you plug anything in between those two numbers, you're going to get a negative answer out of that. If you plug in this x-intercept specifically, plug in that exact x-intercept, is it going to spit out a negative number? No, it's going to spit out 0. 0 is not a negative number. So do I want to include this in my answer? No, I don't, because it spits out 0. It does not spit out a negative. So if I don't want to include it, should I put a parenthesis or a bracket? Wait, which one means include it? Think about increasing, decreasing. Think about the stick figure standing there. A parenthesis is what we always put when we did not want to include it. Okay, so we're not including the number. We're saying anything after that number you can include, but don't include the number itself because it spits out 0 if you put that number itself. Okay, are we going to include the 3.707? No, because if you type in that number exactly, it's going to give you a 0. It's not going to give you a negative. So we're going to put a parenthesis. Okay. Kind of weird, but does it make sense? So if you were to type anything in between there, so I'll show you, we can type in different numbers. If I do second trace, option number 1, it lets me plug in any number that I want to. So if I were to type in 2.294, it gives me a negative answer. 2.299, that gives me a negative answer. 2.5, negative answer. 3, negative answer. 3.5, negative answer. 3.8, positive answer. You guys see that? So all the numbers between these two spit out a negative answer, but as soon as I get outside of this interval, it's not negative anymore. Does that make sense? Yes. Kind of weird. First time we're doing it, but it kind of makes sense. Okay. So now for the next one, now we're going to answer where is the y value equal to 0 or positive. We have two answers. We have this answer right here, and we have this answer right here. Okay? And we're writing the x values. So what is the x value of a left arrow? Negative infinity. Okay? Where is the x value of a right arrow? Positive infinity. Okay? We already labeled the x values right here and right here. We wrote down what those x-intercepts were. Okay? So for our first answer, we're going to say that the y value is positive from negative infinity all the way to the x-intercept, okay? So I'm going to say the first answer is negative infinity all the way to the x-intercept. So we know that the infinity, it always gets a parenthesis. You can never actually have infinity because that's not like an actual number you can plug in. Now with the 2.293, we have to think about what they're asking and if we should put a bracket or if we should put a parenthesis. So this says at that number, the output is either equal to 0 or it's positive. So if you look at this x value exactly, is it true that the output is either 0 or positive? Yes, it is true, so you put a bracket. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Now for the next one, we have another interval over here. We always go from left to right with x's because we want to write the smaller number first, okay? So we have 3.707 to infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. And for this, we have to think about at this number exactly, is the y coordinate either going to be 0 or is it going to be positive? Yes, that is true. Bracket. Now, anytime you have more than one answer and they are both true at the same time, you put a U, it means union. It means both answers are true. If you don't put a U, I will not mark you down. But now, if I put a U on my paper, you know, oh, that just means she has two answers and both are true. So it's not one answer or the other answer, it's both of them. Both of them are true. I am a girl and I am tall. I'm both at the same time. It's not one or the other. You don't have to choose between the two. It's both at the same time. Does that make sense? You can be two things at once. Okay. All right. Where is the function increasing? So we're going back to our comfort zone a little bit. So if we put the stick figure right here and the stick figure starts walking, which way is he walking? Down. He is decreasing. He gets all the way down here to the vertex. And then once he hits the vertex, he starts walking uphill. So here's where he's increasing. So what number did he start increasing at? And remember, for increasing and decreasing, those are x values. Because it's a where question. Where, that's an x value. So what number did he start increasing at? Wait, it's the vertex. It's not the x-intercept, right? It's the vertex. So what coordinate are we going to use? Positive 3, negative 1, that's the vertex. Are we using the x coordinate or the y coordinate? We're using the x coordinate because increasing and decreasing always use the x coordinate. So this x coordinate is 3. So for the increasing interval, let me draw a cleaner picture. 3, infinity, increase. Is that better? Okay, so what is our answer for the increasing interval? 3? 3 to infinity. Okay, infinity always gets a parenthesis. So where, what x value, is the y value increasing? Okay. So 3 to infinity, infinity always gets a parenthesis. At the moment in time where he is standing right here, is he actively walking uphill? No. So parenthesis. Okay. Whew. How do your brains feel? Are they okay? Okay. So I think what I'm going to say is that I want you guys to try 13, 14, 15, 16 before you turn in the packet, and then you can go ahead and make a pile. Okay? 13, 14, 15, 16. The other ones you can leave. If you do 17 through 24, those will be extra credit. 17 through 24 are extra credit. Okay? All right, and then